I've gathered up from all of the different places that create trends data. So you've got HR organizations and LinkedIn and IT organizations and branding people. They all put together their trends. And of course, Career Thought Leaders puts together their trends as well. And next week, we're going to be doing our launch of our annual white paper. It will include a few of the things that we'll talk about today, but go a bit deeper in what that means for career services providers. Today, we're just going to look at some of the trends from 2023. If you are experiencing any of these, what you think about some of these, might have you give me a thumbs up or thumbs down as we go through some of these as well. Hello, everyone. It's excellent. Okay, so let's see. Good to see you all. Let's dive in. So I've got some trends that people are talking about that I wonder, and I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you see this or not? Do you think it's going to happen or not? If you're watching the replay, you can drop that into the chat and just put replay in there. I'd love to see what you're doing. So first one, and this is no surprise, we've actually been talking about remote work, hybrid work since 2018. People are still talking about remote work. They're starting to shift the conversation to hybrid. Will it be remote? Will it be hybrid? I'd love to hear your thoughts. What are you seeing? People wanting remote work, but what's the reality? And this comes into a few of these trends, right? Is it something people want? Is it reality? Where will that tipping point come? And kind of depends on the economy, right? Some of these things people want. And when the economy was looking really good, there was some pressure on them. And now that the economy has looked a little less great, there's not as much emphasis. There's not as much reason for companies to do some of these things. So that remote work is one of those. The next one is salaries. So you saw a huge increase in salaries, then we saw a cooling off. What I'm seeing right now is people talking a lot about benefits and how benefits can fill that gap of salary. Maybe not. Again, I think people will settle for that if that's all they can get, but they really like the salary. And as soon as the economy is back, I think we'll see that pressure on salary increases again. Right now, a lot of the trends are talking about benefits and how important benefits will be. And this is kind of connected to that trend of mental wellness, mental health, physical wellness. That's really important for people and therefore for companies right now. And the benefits are kind of coming in together with that. Will companies figure that out in a way that's meaningful for employees, that helps bridge the gap? Sometimes I feel like it gets a little bit kind of overdone, but in the wrong way. Like the ping pong tables and nap stations. Like, well, you don't need a nap station at your work if people have work-life balance, and they probably really like that instead of a nap station at work, right? So thinking about will this get real, and will companies start to figure out real ways that they can connect with the mental and physical well-being piece that people are seeking at work and outside of work. So that is happening, but in a little bit different way. And then the last trend in this will it, won't it realm is the 4-day work week. Seeing a lot of talk about the 4-day work week, but wondering if you all are actually seeing that happen for clients. And how will we all adjust to that, or how will companies adjust to that? Because there are a lot of people that a 4-day work week doesn't work, right? Nurses, doctors, but even people that work in a shop, you'd have to figure out as the owner, how can you schedule that so that your shop can stay open, your restaurant can stay open, and people are working 4 days a week. Not that it's not doable, but it does take some change in the infrastructure. And I wonder if the pressure will be enough for people to make that change in infrastructure, if we'll actually see that start to become a reality or not, or in what areas would it be a reality and not. So those are some things that I'm hearing talk of that I wonder, what will actually come out. Hybrid work, the whole push towards salary versus benefits and wellness, and where does that fit in there, especially when it comes to employee wellness, and will companies figure that out differently? And then that's kind of related to this 4-day work week, and are the infrastructure challenges going to be pushed through to make that happen for a decent amount of people in our lives. So feel free to say hello. Tell me that you're here. I'd love to see who's listening and what you think about some of these trends. Okay, so let's talk about some other work-related trends. One is diversity, equity, and inclusion. And this has been a topic, again, that we've been talking about since 2018. And then, of course, in 2020, it really took center stage, as it should have. And now what I'm hearing people talk about is, how do you make that a part of the fabric of the world, and how do you make that a part of your everyday conversations, and push through the pushback, although I feel like the pushback has sort of died down, and now it's just maybe a little bit of doldrums around this topic. What we've done at Career Thought Leaders is try to weave it into every topic that we talk about, instead of necessarily having it as a separate topic, because we found that people weren't engaging on that topic anymore, which is just the way that it goes, right? And people kind of drop out of that conversation. So we've tried to weave it into the fabric of everything that we talk about, and the way that we get speakers, the types of people that we bring in, and as well as the topics. And organizations around the globe are trying to figure out how to do that, right? How do you bring that into the fabric of your conversations, the fabric of your ideas, so that people don't avoid it. They can't kind of opt out, because it's just part of everything that you do. And how do we make that happen? There is a mismatch in labor. And this is interesting because, of course, you still see posts about talent shortages, and you see posts about unemployment, long-term unemployment. And this has been going on for a while, and COVID definitely made that situation more visible, and probably a little bit worse, where you do have talent shortages, and you also have people that don't have the right skills to get those jobs. And so when you have that mismatch, it creates frustration for people, right? You're talking about these talent shortages, and yet here I am sitting been unemployed for 6 months, a year, or longer. And what does that mean for me, that there's this talent shortage and yet I can't find a job? That brings in the whole trend of upskilling, reskilling, whatever you want to call it, because that people need the skills to fill the gaps. And what does that look like, and how do we project a little bit longer term what that will look like, and what we need, and what types of skills should I get? And we saw a lot of things around coding, and now, AI has come out, and guess what? AI can code. We've been talking about AI that could code for about 5 years, and it was going to replace maybe that base level, entry level coder. And now it's closer than ever. Who knows, next year, the year after, whatever. But you are starting to see that. And so all these people that reskilled to be coders, what does that look like for them? And how can they transition their skill set yet again? Great skill set. How do they transition it again to be working alongside the tech that can code, or add value in a little bit different way? That mismatch, upskilling, reskilling, all comes together as well with this idea of gig work and the side hustle. And I just saw a post by Sarah Johnston talking about the creator economy from last year. And to me, all those things kind of go together. When we were putting together our trends for 2023, way back 6 months ago, we talked about entrepreneurship. And it's interesting, I've seen a little bit of a drop in entrepreneurship, and a little bit of lots of entrepreneurs wanting to go back to full-time work because of the economic uncertainty. And yet the side hustle, gig work, doing that on top of a job has grown and continues to grow. And again, as soon as the economy is good, you'll probably see a lot of those people go back to their more flexible employment situation when they feel more comfortable and stable doing so. This is creating what I'm just going to call career angst, because we've got one article that says all these people want a new job. And then we've got another article that says nobody wants to leave right now because it's too uncertain. And I believe those things to be true at the same time. People are unhappy, and yet they don't want to leave right now because of all the economic uncertainty. Will we, won't we have a recession, and what industries will that impact, et cetera. And so you've just got people that are sitting, waiting, hopefully exploring, thinking, uncovering what does that look like? How can I be happier? And hopefully, how can I be happier where I am stuck right now? And also, how can I be happier when I feel like I could make a move and things, the optimism improves? Because I wouldn't say that there's any real proof of things being tight right now. It's just a lot of talk, but that's important. Perception is important, and people still are going to wait until they can feel more comfortable before they make that change. So I'm just calling it career angst, right? You got a lot of people looking to make a move, but most people waiting, kind of biding their time a little bit, and figuring out that how can they be more happy where they are, or how can they start preparing themselves for a move. That's where you come in, career services providers, right? They're waiting, and they are for the most part employed, and so that's an opportunity for us and for those clients to start exploring that now, instead of waiting for something bad to happen or waiting for them to feel stable enough, but they still may not have that focus of really where do they want to go and how are they going to get there. So that career angst, that mismatch, all of that put together. So that's kind of on the career side, right? We're seeing some wannabe trends. I'm going to call them wannabe trends, the 4-day work week, hybrid or remote work. We're just not quite sure where those things are going to fall yet. We're seeing some very significant trends in the labor mismatch, the upskilling, reskilling conversations, the career angst of people just not quite knowing what to do right now with the doom gloom forecasts, but they're still unhappy, and maybe were part of the Great Recession, found something, or Great Resignation, were part of that, found something else, and are still unhappy, or wanted to be part of that, but didn't fast enough, and now they feel like they can't. And so they're still kind of waiting around and figuring it out. I want to go through some marketing trends, and these are important for us as business owners, also for our clients to think about what this means for them, especially as we talk about personal branding. So William Arruda puts out his personal branding trends each year, and some of the marketing trends that I've been reading, of course, align with some of the things he's talking about in terms of people and how conversations are happening online and what that means for individuals as well as businesses. So the trend towards video has done nothing but speed up, and now the people are talking about short-term video. Whether it's TikTok, who knows here in the US, especially what's going to go on with TikTok, but don't let that conversation get you distracted from the fact that short form video is here to stay. And it's really important in marketing, and therefore could be something our clients could use if they want to figure out how to make it work for them for whatever they're trying to achieve. Short form video, reels, right, on Instagram, on Facebook, of course, TikTok, and even shorter form video going to do better on LinkedIn. Now, video on LinkedIn is a mixed bag, if you will. Company pages at a certain followership do well with video. Personal videos, they won't do as well in terms of views and those types of things. But remember, they're much more powerful. So yes, a text post 4,000 people might see, a video 800 might see, but the impact it's going to have on them and their likelihood of doing business with you or hiring you from a video is much higher. And so it kind of outweighs that. Doesn't get as many views, but it has so much more power when people do view it. So that video is going nowhere. The short form video is going nowhere, even if TikTok does take a little hiatus here in the US. And don't make that your excuse for not figuring out how you might make that work for you. It's so impactful. The next thing is communities, and William Arruda talked about this in terms of individuals and relationships. On the marketing side of it, people are talking about communities, and they have been for the last year or so, really being that place. So courses, 2020 Courses took this big up and then kind of a nosedive because there was just too many of them, right? The market got flooded. And so it moved from that courses piece to the community piece. How can I help people create a community that will provide relationships, and not just me as the course creator, but everybody coming together and figuring this out? And there had been people in our community that had been using job seeker communities in person. Some people had figured out how to do that virtually. It's not new in our space by any means. And now it's coming into that marketing small business space more and more, that idea of community. And if you're looking for a career community for yourself, we've got our free Facebook group. I'll drop the link for that. And then we've got our Career Industry Authority program, where it is a weekly opportunity to come together with the community and ask questions, to learn. You kind of get access to all of our content and community at that deeper level through that Career Industry Authority. I'll post the link to that as well. So if you are thinking about how you could create a community for your audience, what would that look like? Whether it's a Facebook group or an off group like we use Mighty Networks, there's an opportunity there to, one, maybe have some recurring revenue, and two, to create a community that supports each other and provides you the opportunity for those long-term relationships with individuals and to create those with individuals in your community. This next marketing trend follows along with that, which is the affiliate or partnership marketing. I just got an email from Ryan Levesque, who many of you know because I share his quiz funnel and all of his trainings. And he's talking about how the big brands are now looking at not just influencer marketing, which was, I'm going to pay you to represent my brand, but that partnership marketing of how can I partner with other people that have an audience that's complementary to mine, a service that's complementary to mine, and boost my marketing power, boost my reach that way instead. And for us as job seekers, that might be partnering with recruiters or internal HR people. And, it could be a way that they offer value to their employees, thinking about their LinkedIn profile or their resume, if they're nervous about making that change or what might happen if they have a layoff. And it's a great way for you to expand your audience. So what does that partnership look like for you? And maybe nonprofits or professional associations, all those ways that you could leverage partnerships for your reach, but also to help more people than you may be able to help without that partnership. And of course, in the digital marketing space, we're talking about AI-enabled marketing. Saw some great posts on LinkedIn about how you can use ChatGPT. It's all about the good input, good output, right? If you ask a question that's too broad or don't give the AI something to go off of, you're not going to get very much. But I've seen some great posts where people are talking about that they put in like 10 post starters and then they ask ChatGPT to give them more, and they get great output because they're giving good inputs. And I just got a class on AI enabled marketing. How can I do this, and how can I help you all who are in your own businesses do this better as well? So those are the trends that we're seeing kind of globally as I scan all the articles that are talking about trends and global trends. And then we're going to be talking next week about the outcomes of our annual Career Jam, where we get experts together and talk about how are these trends impacting the career space specifically. So the mental wellness piece, the entrepreneurship and gig work, what does that look like? How does that impact our work when we're talking about goodness gracious. So thinking about how that impacts our work on a global scale, we had some great global speakers on that topic. The HR technology, so what's going on in that space that we need to be aware of. And as we go through our trends next week, we'll talk about that and what does that look like, and some tips from ATS that we got from one of our speakers. Then, of course, that personal branding piece, and what does that mean for our clients today? How does that align with those changes in HR technology? And what does that mean for where we're headed? in our work with our clients and helping our clients understand how to use digital technologies for their benefit. So I hope you check in next week. We're going to have the 5 mega trends, some input from your colleagues and leaders who spoke on these trends as well. The upskilling, the reskilling, all of the trends that we were seeing, and that are, if you haven't seen it, we've got the link on LinkedIn. It will be a LinkedIn Live exclusive and into our Facebook group. So if you want to join our Facebook group, it will be broadcast there as well as on our LinkedIn page where some of you are seeing this. Help us control any possible trolls a little bit easier than broadcasting onto all of our channels next week. So make sure you RSVP for that or catch the recording of that as well. And I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Happy 2023, everyone. Hope your year is off to a great start.